One of the unfortunate realities of getting older is maybe losing a little bit of distance off the tee and throughout your game. I'm in my 50s and I certainly don't want my game to be going in the wrong direction. It's no fun to hit the golf ball shorter. So what I got for today's lesson are 5 simple tips, 5 killer tips to help make sure that you can produce some easy speed in your swing and start to hit the golf ball longer at any age. The first place you always got to start is with a quick little grip check. If we don't have the right connection with our hands, we're not able to square the club face up into the back of the ball. We're not able to activate our wrists, which are big producers of speed. So before we get into the meat of this little video here, let's make sure that we have the lead hand rotated away from the target so the hand's on about a 45-degree angle, especially if you're a slicer out there. If you're not slicing, you feel like you got a reasonable connection, you can skip this part here, but I got this hand rotated more across the top of the club. The next thing I have is I have my heel pad, this heel pad of my hand, up on top of the grip as well, and I feel the grip down in my fingers. If I look down at my lead hand, I can see 1, 2, and maybe a little bit of this third knuckle. So if I have that connection, strong enough grip, the face is going to square up into the back of the ball. If you get the face and the path squared up, that's going to give you a more solid strike. Club face open, glancing blow. If we're able to get some activity out of our wrists, well, now we can create and release angles with our lever system, and that's a big key, again, for creating club head speed. So once we've got a proper grip that's going to help us control the club face and add some speed through our lever system, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to make turning easy. And the number one thing I see when people come in for a golf lesson is they've got their feet too perpendicular to their target line. It makes it really hard to rotate those hips. If you can't turn your hips, you can't turn your shoulders. If you can't get those shoulders close to 90 degrees, you're really losing some pace. And then also, they tend to set up with their bodies a little bit too open to the target. So right from this setup position right here, feet perpendicular, body open, makes it really hard to create a nice arc to the swing, makes it really hard to create the range of motion out of our rotation that we need to hit the golf ball somewhere. So what I want you to do from here is get your toes to flare out a little bit. When your toes are turning out in opposing directions, it makes rotating back a little bit easier. It makes rotating through easier. It gives you more balance at the end of your swing. Along with the foot flare, I want you to start with your shoulders and your hips cheated a little bit close to the target. So if we start a little bit closed, that's going to make it easier to feel a nice arc of the swing from the ball up over our shoulder, giving us a nice in to out path in the ball contact. So if you had the right gripping connection, and then you had a nice arc to the swing, capturing the ball with an in to out strike versus an out to in strike, now you would already have the tools to turn that weak slice into a nice little draw. So I got a different grip, I've got some foot flare, I'm rotated a little bit close to the target, and there's a nice straight golf shot.
All right, guys, quick break from today's video. Look, if you want to make massive improvements with your game and actually get way better in 2025, you got to do something different than you've done before. And one of those things that I highly recommend is checking out these 2-day schools that my friends at Performance Golf are hosting. These are with the best coaches in the world, people you see me in videos with all the time, like Martin Chuck, Andrew Rice, Erica Larkin, many more of the top coaches at awesome places all around the United States. We're seeing great results with these schools because what we're able to do when we see you in person is really find and fix the main root issue. Most all of us have like 4 or 5 things wrong with our swing. You can't do them all at one time, but you can find and fix the main one thing, which we can do in person like that. We're able to make massive improvements. I'm talking like maybe 2 years of improvements in only 2 days. So if you're looking for something to really fast track your improvement, this could be the thing that could take you to the next level. We'll put a link in the description down below. Check it out, see if there's a spot available in a location that works for you.
The next thing I want you to do is I want you to work on creating a relationship that I call 90-90-90. So 3 90-degree relationships. The first 90 is going to be 90 degrees of shoulder turn. So what I want you to do, I want you to put an alignment stick or a club on the ground, perpendicular to your target line, right off the inside of your trail heel. Take another stick or a golf club across your shoulders and try and get the shaft or stick across your shoulders to match that stick on the ground. So that's going to give you 90 degrees of shoulder turn. In order to get to 90, especially if you've got some physical limitations, again, you got to have those toes flared out. It's really helpful to start a little bit closed. And now from here, this trail pocket, this trail hip, really needs to drive back and behind you. For right-handed golfers, I call this right pocket back or trail pocket back. So I flared my feet to make it easier to turn my hips. If I can turn my hips at least 45 degrees, I know I can get my shoulders to 90. If you still have a hard time getting enough hip turn to get enough shoulder turn, you can also take this trail foot and kick it back just a little bit. So now I'm giving myself a little bit of a closed stance. That gives my hips, again, even more of a head start rotating. That, again, is going to make it a lot easier to get to this first 90. The second 90 is going to be 90 degrees of wrist hinge with this lead hand and shaft relative to your lead arm. So here we are up to the top, 90 degrees of shoulder turn, and there's 90 degrees of wrist hinge. If I'm not hinging that wrist, I'm not loading the club shaft in the circle with energy, I'm not going to have enough speed getting in the back of the ball. The third 90 is again trying to get 90 degrees of hinge, but this time out of your trail elbow. So if I can get 90 degrees out of my shoulders, 90 degrees between the shaft and my lead arm, 90 degrees out of that trail elbow, well, now I've created a lot of potential energy, potential speed to deliver into the back of that golf ball. And again, players that come in who don't hit the golf ball very far, they don't have the proper grip, they don't have easy turn, they're not creating these relationships of 90 with the shoulders, 90 with the lead wrist, and 90 with the trail elbow. So just these alone are going to give you a lot more speed potential than possibly you had to this point. From here, the final thing that I want you to do is get a little bit of easy speed and make sure you're maintaining the inclination of your spine to make sure the club head can find the ball with nice solid contact. So when we talk about easy speed, the easiest way to get some pace is to make sure that we are swinging in a pure circle around our body. And a lot of golfers who hit the ball short, a lot of golfers who are slicing, they are swinging this club too much straight up and down along the target line. And the first place you get speed is by creating an arc around a stable axis. So if we had a tetherball pole in a playground, that would be a stable axis. If you picture the ball going around that pole, that's an example of circular momentum, which is really easy speed relative to golf. So as a golfer, your spine is the axis. If you grab something light like an alignment stick, if you elevate it up in the air just above the ball, now you're going to feel a nice pure arc or circle around that spine or axis. And because this is really light, you're going to be able to hear it making some noise through the air. If you are releasing the energy early, you're going to hear a little bit of noise over here on this side of the circle. If you're releasing the lead wrist angle, the trail elbow angle, and unwinding your body at the proper time, you're going to hear some speed up here, out in front, a little bit through the ball, a little bit late relative to the golf ball. So check this out. 90, 90, 90. And now we got some speed late. So you could take an alignment stick, you could do this in your garage or your backyard for a few minutes a day, and as long as you had the proper hold, as long as you had the proper foot position, as long as you were creating some positions or alignments that gave you an easy ability to turn, as long as you're able to get 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, that should give you everything you need to deliver the energy up here versus back there. And simply by hearing that whoosh on this side of the ball later in the arc, you know that you're delivering speed at the proper time. So the final tip to give you better contact with that easy speed is to make sure as you're coming through the shot that you're maintaining your inclination to the ground. So we know in golf, we are bent forward. My spine is the axis, my shoulders need to turn around my spine. So at the end of my golf swing, this trail shoulder is below my lead shoulder. It's replacing where my lead shoulder was in the backswing. So as I go into my backswing right here, my lead shoulder goes under my chin and my shoulders have an inclination to them. Wherever that lead shoulder is in the backswing, the trail shoulder needs to replace that lead shoulder. And you can see how when I do that, how I'm looking at the ball flight from an angled perspective. It's like my eyes and my ears and my shoulders are on a little slope this way as I'm tracking that ball through the sky. And you'll see that out of the game's top players. If I were to change the angle of my spine, well then the circle, via the club head, it wouldn't swing through the right zip code on its way to the ball. And that's where we hit top shots, that's where we hit the ball all over the face. So putting it all together, we gotta have a sound connection out of our grip. Make sure you can see 2, if not 3 knuckles of that lead hand, heel pad on top. Make sure you can activate those wrists. Try and create some easy turning. Flare those feet, maybe drop that trail foot back. Create a little head start by having your hips and shoulders turn more away from the target. See the value in creating a 90-90-90. 90 with the shoulders, 90 with the lead arm and club shaft, 90 out of that trail elbow. Coming through, make some swings up in the air. Try and get some speed late as you create a pure arc around your body. And to seal the deal, make sure that when you're done, that trail shoulder is below the lead shoulder. You'll make more solid contact, more predictable contact. You'll have some speed behind it, so the golf ball is going to go somewhere, and that club face is going to square up to the path, hitting straighter shots as well. That's everything you need at any age. And boy, if you can do that as a senior golfer or an older golfer, you might just reclaim, or for the first time, be the longest, straightest player in your group. So those are the tips. Give them a try. I know they're going to help. Hey, while you're here, do us a favor. If you enjoyed this lesson, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel, give us a like, leave those comments below. Until next time, best of luck with your game.